This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
Tavach, everybody. It's so exhausting on Matzah Shabbos after Shabbos like this. But on the other hand, it's so invigorating. So I feel so empowered, so amazing, so much energy. This is like, on one hand, it's very draining a Shabbos like this. On the other hand, it's like, Mom's rejuvenating. Picking up so much chizik from all. Everybody's a giver and a taker this Shabbos. Everybody is sharing and taking and receiving. It's just amazing. So the topic tonight, what was the name of the topic? It should be like, I'm trying to find the exact word. Bridging the gap. The gaps in our marriage. No, I know the topic. I didn't know the exact line. You're married 40 years and you're still asking? Not possible. Okay. I'm just going to start with a shtickle gedank. I'm not going to talk Toiras a lot tonight. We're going to talk more practical. I just want to start with a few days to Shvius. Mamash, a few days we're going to be Makabel the Torah. There's some kind of message that I want to talk about, and then we're going to bring it out to our marriages, to our life. We all know the Medrash, the famous Medrash. Before the Rebbe Shalom wanted to give us the Torah, he sent a Malach to go around to all the nations. There's a famous song on it from Yom Tevelach, and then, no, I'm not related to Yom Tevelach. And Avram Fried sings a song that he went around to all the nations and he asked them, do you want to be Makabel the Torah? And we all know the answers that every nation that he went to, and they said, how did he do it? The Malach was very shrewd, he was keen. He wanted to give the Torah to end up by the Yidden. What did he do? He came to every nation and he was talking to them about their own weakness. So they asked him, Maksiv by, what are the terms and conditions? What says in the Torah? And let's say he spoke to Shmuel, and they struggle with Znis. He says, Lois enough. And they said, no, we don't want the Torah. Then he went to the other countries. He went to every nation, and when they asked him, Maksiv by, what does it say in the Torah? He told them their weakness, their part of the Torah, which is going to be the hardest for them to keep, and they said no. So he was a chevra man, the Malach. He wanted to make sure. Then when it came to the Yidden, the Malach asked him, do you want to be Makabel the Torah? The Yidden said, Na'aseh v'nishma. We're doing it. We're in. And then v'nishma, later on we'll ask. We'll find out what the deals are. What's the deal? What are the terms and conditions? The reason why the Malach asked and told every nation their weakness, their weak point, is because the way they asked. They said, Makasiv by. The Goyim didn't understand that when the Rebbeinu Shalom is giving us a Torah, he wants a relationship. It's not about the rules. It's about the relationship. The Rebbeinu Shalom, the Melech Malchei Hamluchim, the creator of the world, he even created AI. AI was also created by someone. Someone said in the future you want to explain to someone, a child, what does it mean? And the kids, you're going to have to say, the AI of all AIs. Melech Malchei Hamluchim. So the Rebbeinu Shalom that created the whole world is interested in us. Klal Yisrael didn't ask Maksiv by. So the Malach didn't go and right away say, to tease us with something that we are struggling with. He said, you want it? You got it. Na'aseh v'nishma. When someone doesn't understand what it means, a relationship, they're very busy with the rules. Yiddishkeit is not about the rules. It's about the relationship between the Rebbeinu Shalom and us. So he gave us a Torah, he gave us a means to an end of relationship, he gave us a means what to do certain things. Like this, we have a shaykhs. You do mitzvahs, mezuzah, you do tzitzis, you do Shabbos, whatever it is, every mitzvah that you do is we have a shaykhs to the Rebbeinu Shalom. He gave us a way. Of course, in the Torah it also says, Vim lo yisishmi, because if there's no rules, then the relationship can't last. But the relationship is not based on rules. The relationship is based on ahava. It's based on the relationship itself, on wanting to be close, wanting to have a shaykhs with the other. Many people throughout the generations were struggling with this very aspect of Yiddishkeit. And it's true that Yiddishkeit is about the rules, we have to keep it. Avad the Torah, the Esses and the Lois Esses, it's like Shabbos. I remember a few years ago, I made even a video of it, I remember. it was Erev Shabbos. There's a park around the corner of my house, Kakiet Park in Monsey, in Montebello. And I walked with my kids, Erev Shabbos. We figured, it's not too far from us. We'll go a little bit spazieren. And we come to the entrance of the park. There's a huge sign. And it says, no soliciting, no littering, no dogs, no. And I'm looking, what kind of park is this? And then I chapped. That's a Shabbos. We are told so many things that we can't do on Shabbos. Shabbos is not about what you're not allowed to do. Stop a buchel in the gas. Ask, what's Shabbos? Shabbos tun wir nicht driven a car. Wir tun nicht even a light. That's not Shabbos. That park is not about what we're not allowed to do in the park. The rules are, in order for you to enjoy the park and everybody else that comes there, you can't have a dog without a leash. You can't throw down your empty water bottle on the floor. You have to keep it for the other person. You have to enjoy the park. In order to enjoy the park, you have to have some rules. But going to the park is not because I want to keep the rules. Shabbos is a mitzvah esser. It's a mitzvah of doing. What is the mitzvah of Shabbos? Of Yom Menicha, Hashem said very explicitly in the Torah. Hashem said, I rest, I want you to rest. This is the Yom Menicha. This is, of course, how do you rest? You have to have some rules to do certain things that shouldn't take you away from the prime purpose, from the prime enjoyment of Shabbos. You have to have the rules of Lo Savari Ash B'chol Mashasaycha. You can't cook and you can't do certain things. Shabbos is not about what you're not allowed to do. I remember my daughter came up from school, I think it's Pasha Vayakal, and we'll talk about the Lametes Meluchas, and then Pink, that there was a little girl from across the street. Her daughter, the girl went to a different school, and she also brought it to my house. I was looking; it was very interesting, many years ago. And the other girl had like this: Shabbos kodesh tur men nicht. Can you see this? Betun nicht das, betun nicht jens, betun. You're not allowed. Shabbos kodesh, you're not allowed to do this. You're not allowed to do that. The whole book was everything that you're not allowed to do Shabbos. And my kids had in there, I don't know, it was a very great teacher. It was about Shabbos Kodesh. On every page was a picture of a girl eating ice cream, and a girl playing jump rope, and another girl going on a swing. And one of the things that you're not allowed to do on Shabbos, and it said on every page, circle the thing that you're not allowed to do on Shabbos. So with the 10 things what Shabbos is all about, eating and enjoying and dressing nice and clean and everything. And it's one thing, just 2 teachers giving over Shabbos. My son went for the bar mitzvah to learn Hilchos Tefillin. So, we send our bucherim today. It didn't exist in my times. And we send them to teach them what's a bar mitzvah, what's a tefillin. So the bucherim go, the 13-year-olds before they're 13, they go to for 6 months. And someone teaches, my son finished and asked him, what's the gelernt? He tells me, I can ganz shechnur gerav, Mr. Brire. He learned everything, all the haluchas from tefillin. I called up the Malamed, the guy that does it. It's a private person, not from the Chayd. And I asked him, did you teach my son what is tefillin? He said, was heißt? Ich habe gesagt, wir tun es an durch, let me hear. Alle Haluchas and here, and the Bruche, Burich Shaim. Why did he say Burich Shaim? Second Bruche is a Sufik. I said, great, he knows the Haluchas. Does he know what is tefillin? He's looking at me, I'm crazy. I said, do you know what tefillin is all about? Tefillin is a love letter. It's a letter that's tied to your arm, that's the closest to your heart and to your brain. And to think every morning, it's a love letter that we have between us and the Rebbeinu Shalom. And the Gemara says that at the very same time, the Rebbeinu Shalom puts on tefillin, kavyuchel, and he also has a love letter on his head, kavyuchel, and says, Mi ka'amchi Yisrael. They said tefillin. If you put in 2 hours of teaching them the halachas of tefillin, you have to put in 6 hours of teaching what tefillin is all about. And all the other mitzvahs. It's amazing that we're doing good. We're teaching Klal Yisrael exactly all the rules of the relationship. We're missing the main part of the relationship. We're not having a relationship b'chlal. It's not a relationship with Shabbos if you only think about what you're not allowed to do. You're not over on Shabbos. It's not about not being over, it's about doing Shabbos. And all the other mitzvahs. And the same thing is when it comes to marriage. I have a couple that came into me once, many times, and sitting over there, and she's complaining about her marriage. She gives out a rant, she talks about the ganze Sach, mamash. And he's sitting there like flabbergasted. I don't know what the right word is. I can't pronounce it. Flabbergasted. I always get it wrong. So he's like, wow, like what happened? You know what I do? I take out the garbage. You know, men have 3 jobs in the house, yeah? We take out the garbage. We're supposed to. We kill the spiders. And we open the cans, the very hard cans. There's a few jobs. That's what men do at home. So he says, I'm doing all my jobs. And I'm bringing on panusa. I'm doing everything. I didn't even know why she's complaining. And she says, yes, it's true. He has a job. He does the other few jobs. But I feel alone. And the guy doesn't even know what she's talking about. I feel alone, she says. They have another couple coming in. And she says, yeah, he doesn't do everything. He doesn't do this. He's not always taking out the garbage. I need to tell him 6 times. Men forget very quickly. You have to remind us. Certain things we need to be reminded. It's not because we don't love you, don't care for you. We forget. And the other one says, my husband is thinking about me 24/7. I'm the most important person to him. He's thinking about me. I know. When I tell him I had a toothache in the morning, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, he'll call me, how's your tooth? And I already forgot already. He's really thinking. He's in tune in my feelings. He's thinking about me. Okay, he's not doing the technical things so much, but I feel I have a husband. Of course, everybody wants everything. The Baal Shem HaKudosh, which is the Rebbe of all the Rebbes, he came with a very, very, very strong message to Klal Yisrael. And he said, Rachmun Eliv Aboy, that Hashem wants our heart. He wants us to be in tune in the relationship 24/7. Klal Yisrael as a whole is Kala Kriya Benima, Kegen the Rebbeinu Shalom. We are like the wife Kav Yuchot to the Rebbeinu Shalom. And the same thing is Faket Tini Oiz La'alekim, Hashem Oiz La'amayita, and it goes back and forth. The Rebbeinu Shalom wants us to be in tune. That's the Ikke Tachlis. The Baal Shem HaKudosh took all his biggest Talmidim that were doing everything according to the books. They were doing everything right, and he was telling them it's not enough. And he told one Talmud, I want you to go to this and this place, be there for an hour and come back. He goes to that place, and he says there's going to be a big rock, hide behind the rock, stand by the water and come back. He's standing there for an hour, and he sees up as this, in the olden days, the shepherds were mamish amaratzen, they didn't know any basics of Yiddishkeit. And this shepherd, this pastor, while his sheep were drinking water in the stream over there, he was jumping over from one side to the other. He said, Tumma, 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 Tumma. There's only one Lusha Kodesh word this guy knew in his life. And he wanted to daven to the Rebbeinu Shalom. He said, Tumma, Tumma. And he couldn't stand it. This Talmud was like, if he's screaming Tumma, let him scream too hard. He screams it too hard. And the guy got confused. Tumma, too hard. It didn't work. Came back to the Baal Shem Tov. The Baal Shem Tov told him, that person screaming Tumma every single day to the Rebbeinu Shalom was more chashuv than your davening with all the tekinim and the yichidim and your whole. Doesn't come close. And we know, whoever grew up in the Chassidish Chayda for sure knows about it. I think everybody knows by now. Hundreds of stories like this. He was constantly training his Talmidim. Of course, you have to be Oved Hashem with the haluchas, with the rules and everything. Kalake v'chamira, no question about it. But the Ikke Tachlis is to understand that from the heart. From the heart. Many times Amuritz that doesn't know basic, he knows it's connected to the Rebbeinu Shalom v'Sadaf Tzazan. This is called a relationship. This is called something that needs to be discussed. When it comes to having an Nisayon, a challenging family, like the Nisayon that we're dealing with now, that what we're talking about, this whole Shabbos, our whole life is taken over by this Nisayon. This tops it all off. What's required is even more to be on the same page and to try to be in tune in each other and understand. And the biggest issue is when we have different opinions on how to deal with it. But we'll get to how to deal with different opinions in a minute. Even if we have different opinions from our spouse on how to deal with you should have said that. No, I was Barashim Russell. He said, that's not what he meant. He meant the other. You should have, now you have to put down a foot. He says, or she says, es wird a ganze Sache. But you know what? It's actually very healthy to disagree. It's very healthy to disagree on something that's so deep like this. But as long as both feel that we are in it together, we are sharing the same pain, we are just, you're taking one side, you're taking the other opinion on how to deal with it. As long as you feel that you're in it together, it's schon andere Masse. And this is going to bring me how to technically get there, and then we'll wrap it up. Mitzvah Shem. One of the most beautiful things that Klal Yisrael does, nowadays, much better, not good enough, getting better. What we do is we take a chusna and a kala, and we give them training before they get married. What we do is we have the chusna lessons, the kala lessons, how to treat a wife, shulam bayis. We teach shulam bayis all over. I want to give a whole different lecture to every chusna, and the chasanim that come to me get it from me. I teach something the opposite of shulam bayis. I teach machloikes bayis. You don't like it, you can leave. I teach machloikes bayis. It sounds good. We do it naturally, right? No, I want to do it the right way. Exciting. Machloikes bayis is something that has to be taught to every chusna and every kala. There is going to be many, 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 many disagreements in things that are very valuable in your values, in your life, in equality, in your nisyonis, in your challenges, that you both are going to have opposite and opposing opinions. We need to know how to fight. We need to fight. What? Only decide. Good. We have to teach machlokas bayis. And you know what? Most machlokas that happen is because people don't know how to have a machlokas. If you don't know how to have a machlokas, it turns into a war. How do you say machlokas in Yiddish or in English? The Gemara ta machlokas. It's a disagreement. We have disagreements. And then there's such a thing, it's called a war. If you don't know how to have a disagreement, you're going to end up having a war. So machlokas bayis means not war, nicht, wie heißt es? Melchome bayis. There's melchome, there's machlokas. Machlokas is a very healthy thing. I remember when I was a little kid and I was learning the Gemara and they were starting to teach me Gemara, I was like, what's that machlokas? I translate it as a fight, as a war. It's not a war. It's a disagreement. The ganze Torah is this. This brings out the maskuna from the Gemara. The subtotal could only happen because there were different opinions. You understand? And then you get to final conclusion. Then he gets clarity. I think it's the most awesome thing to know how to disagree, and even to fight is auch nicht the extra. But definitely not to have a war. A war is tzudas. So if we know how to disagree, we agree to disagree, we agree to have it out, we agree that if we're not going to get to the bottom, we're going to have this and this person is going to have the end say in that particular thing that we can't get to a conclusion. And that's awesome. But we get turned off, we get in a fight, we get distant from each other because we don't know how to fight. How do we fight? You go to the store, you get this big gloves. No. I think that the first ingredient to have a very healthy fight, it should never be as a by the way. It should never be while your wife is stirring the pot. And it shouldn't be while your husband is at work. Your husband could be standing on the ladder being an electrician trying to put on a thing and you call him up. What are we talking about? Like the most heaviest conversation ever. And whatever he's going to answer you is going to be wrong, and then he's going to be held accountable for you said it, and he says he doesn't remember he said it, because it was in the middle of just a business meeting, or driving a truck, or giving a shir. And the same thing with the wife. You come over to her and you ask her like something out of the blue, whatever you answer is wrong. So any heavy conversation has to be by appointment only. You say, my dear wife, my dear husband, I want to discuss with you A, B, and C. When is a good time? I know the men hate it when the women say, we need to talk. That's like, forget it. That's a killer.
What happens if there's no appointments available?
I was sure that would be coming from that side. I'm shocked it came from this side.
You might be on the wrong side.
You might be on the wrong side. I think if it would be done in the right way, men would not have an issue having that we need to talk type of moment. I think I was just telling people, Shinim Kippur, we talk about the Seder Shema Tshuva. I said, that's when Hashem says, we need to talk. And nobody it's like accountability every now and then. It's good to talk. But if you know you're going to have a very healthy conversation, and you're going to sit down and you're going to say, you know what, tomorrow night, 8 o'clock, we're discussing our child. The discussion we have, should she go back to school, did she go back to school, should she this, should we that, should we encourage, should we not, should we let her boyfriend into the house, should we not let the boyfriend into the house, whatever we're dealing with. It's not like, I told her she could come. What do you mean you told her she could come? You had to ask your wife, you had to ask your husband. We have to really, really have this fight. Shlomo Melech is encouraging fight. Ouch. It doesn't sound good, right? Someone is going to clip out just that 30 seconds and put it out of context. Yeah, it says in the Torah, "Va'avadatem Elohim achayrim." Right? It says in the Torah you should do avodah zarah. That's the Torah. It's just a pusik before that is explaining it, but if you cut out of context. So the first thing is we set a time and we say we are going to discuss this and this topic. And then when you sit down over there, you're going to say, you're both going to be breathing very heavy probably, even more if it's this conversation. We are ready to disagree respectfully. You talk, she talks, you talk, you listen, you mirror back. You just said that the best thing should be this and this. You feel that this is the best way. I want to explain to you why I feel it's not right. What do you say? It has to be, you could disagree. No, but I disagree because I feel that it's okay. And you make up before that when we're going to be done, we're best friends again. It's okay. We need to get it out.
Respectful dialogue.
A respectful dialogue. And as long as both are set for it, it's not as a baidu, it's not like flying out of the, it has to be an official conversation. Anything heavy. You don't have to have an official conversation when we'll discuss, should pick up the milk from the grocery, and you can just text or call and say, pick up the grocery. I don't like texting in marriage, but on maybe to a grocery list, maybe. But definitely not something heavy. Disagreeing is a very healthy thing because it lets us realize something that we're wrong. We're living in our own perspective and the way we see the whole thing, and we get used to this. This is the way we saw the world. Like people say they're open-minded. You ever met a person that's not open-minded? That thinks that they're not open-minded? I haven't met. I even spoke to Natirka. Everybody's open-minded. Left to it. Everybody's open-minded. Hezbollah. Everybody's open-minded. So what is the real definition of open-minded? Again, that's my open-mindedness. My perspective. I think open-minded is that I'm open to really understand the other person's perspective. And if that person's perspective makes sense to me, I'm ready to change my perspective according to that. I think that's what means open-minded. And if that's the definition of open-minded, there's very few people out there open-minded. Very, very few. We're all prejudiced. Pre-Judas, yeah? We're all prejudiced. We all have our own. So when we have to go through this parsha, this sugi that we're dealing with our children that are struggling, and they go through all these, we're anyway shedding so many layers of ourselves. We all became tzaddikim. We gave up our image, we gave up our ego, we gave our money, our finance, our Shabbos tables. We gave one more thing, one more layer we needed to shed. your prejudice and your closed-mindedness, perception of understanding what chinuch is all about and what crisis chinuch is all about. You're going to get to such clarity, to such good and understanding of what it is to have a real, delicate conversation and get to the bottom of it and try to figure out what is the best thing for our child right now at this moment. If we have that, there's going to be such a real shulam bias after the machlekes bias, like never before. And we're going to thank our kids. We're going to say, you know what? You brought us to a higher level of the melchemta shel Torah, of working out of what it is and how we should really see the disagreement and different perspectives and how to deal with our kids. One of the very strong points in this parsha b'chlal is the idea of getting to a place where we are becoming better Yidden. We have our kids challenging us. So why? I just had Friday. Thursday. Friday was here. Just Thursday, a woman told me she has her daughter that stopped wearing tights. Not a kid that's like in the crisis chinuch kid. She said she comes home, takes off her tights, and that's how she walks around. She walks in the street, and she started telling her. She said, "What do you mean? I walk down the other neighborhoods, and she lives in this neighborhood, the Monsey, in the other neighborhood, and all the modern girls walk like that. It's not against the Torah." So the woman is like crying to me. What should I tell my daughter? I said, I don't know. Who said it's a problem? What do you mean? You have to wear tights. I said, who says? She's like thinking a second, and her husband says, what do you mean? It's you have to. I said, no problem. I didn't give them my perspective. I didn't want to, and I'm not saying anything. I told them I wanted to go home, and or go to somebody that knows how to learn. You have another halacha that you have to get clarity on. Is it an issue? Is it not an issue? How far? This, that. He sent me a text a few hours later. He said, I just got a full... He called up someone. He's not the type to really learn on his own. And he called up his dayan, someone that he went, what's the real halacha? The dayan explained to him. I'm not going to say what he passed on the camera, but he told him that, whatever, you should do so and so. But this person said that what changed him is that he realized that there are so many perspectives and understandings. Just because I grew up one way, but if you have a challenging kid, if you're going to put down a foot for the wrong kid in the wrong time, you're going to push them off the edge, and once they go downwards, they go very quickly. So we have to pick and choose our battles these days, and sometimes it forces us to become more understanding of what Yiddishkeit is all about, and what Torah is all about, and what's a chimra, what's a halucha, and what's a chasidus, and what's a minig, and what's a mesorah, and what's not a mesorah, and what kind of minig la halucha, plain minig. We didn't want to go through all of this. We wanted to just live like robots the way we grew up from our parents, which is great. And Hashem said, no. I'm going to send you a child that's going to make you become a better Yid, and understanding. Someone asked me, throughout Shabbos, I had a few times people asking me, what should I tell my older kids? They're asking me. The older, I said, yes, that's what Hashem wants from you. Since I'm in this L'Sayim for a couple of years, I had to learn a lot of things. I just became a better Yid. I'm even more in love with Hashem and the Torah, and I understand. And then there's many things that I had to say, you know what? Who says I have to be makbet on this? Maybe now it's not the time. Maybe certain things is just... And you know what? And working this out together between husband and wife and going through the certain things that Hashem wants us to sift through, the tiny haluchas and the little things that... What is it that you put on a foot, what you don't, where you're strict, where you're not strict? I think this is something that all of us are gaining through this sign. Yeah.
When you're having your open-minded appointment talk, what if you don't come to an agreement? What if you're at a standstill?
Okay, so you say we're going to have to think about it again, and let's sit again about it. Let's talk about it tomorrow night again. And if you don't get to
gets too tired?
Whatever, you don't have to get to a decision the first meeting. We'll talk about very heavy concepts over here. Or you could say, you know what, we both need to get educated more. One person goes, this is the way to do it. He's going to say, no, what tells you? oh, let's listen together to another shir now. There's so much stuff online, so many good shi'irim in this topic. I mean, a Kesher Nafshi alone you have, I don't know how many, and there's so much education on this topic. And really, we should all be listening together, not on your own. You should always be listening together, listening or watching. It depends what type of family you have. At least listening together to the same shi'irim.
Consult with a professional.
And then you could say, if we don't get to the conclusion, we decide whatever this person says, we're going to follow. Yes, that's what you end up doing. But the main thing is to grow together, not to grow apart, because many marriages, what happens is one person reads this one and these books and the other books, and then we're not on the same page, and then it's again an issue. If we're in the same Nisayan at the same time, I think it's very important to listen to the same lectures together. We should all go back, to Shimon and all the other speakers over here. Every Shabbos is an add-on to the last. It's not. Most of the things are not repetition of it. You should go back to the first Kesher Nafshi Shabbos. I listen to the lectures together, and then go to the second one, third one, fourth one. It's going to change. It first of all gives us chizik. It reminds us what we're doing here, and it's just unbelievable. The information is out there. I think we could all do it. But if you listen together, you grow together, I think it's definitely going to make a lot of shulam bayis. You're not going to have to use machlekes bayis to create shulam bayis. You want to add something? Okay, any questions, or I should continue? Okay, that's good. It makes it easy for me.
How do you deal over the love of Hashem to your children? You said, you become a better yid, become a better, higher, you realize what's a mitzvah. How do you give that over? Children are struggling, keeping Shabbos, this and that. What's your best mahalach to give it over? Not that you personally have, but to give it over to them, that they also should enjoy their relation to Hashem.
Right, so this comes to the beginning. You were here in the beginning of the Shmuz? You came in the middle. So at the beginning of the conversation, we're talking about that the main thing of a relationship is the emotional connection. Of course, the rules are also important. So if we try to get a child to keep Shabbos, I think it's a very complicated thing to teach them. How about we teach them to enjoy Shabbos, to connect Hashem through enjoying Shabbos, and then also, of course, it comes along with rules that you can't smoke on Shabbos. We have to stop the lingo of talking. You have to keep the Torah. You have to live the Torah. It's different words. It's not about keeping the Torah and mitzvahs of Shabbos is about relationship. It's about the relationship between us and the Rebbeinu Shalom. And between us and other people, obviously the mitzvahs that are lesignav, all the other things, obviously, Savaida, and all the other mitzvahs in the Torah. But to get someone to keep Shabbos, what do you mean to keep Shabbos? Why should someone not keep Shabbos?
They're bored.
Okay, you're touching on a very different subject. You talk about teenagers that don't know what to do, they're plugged out, they don't go to shul, they're not excited with the Shabbos meal, Shabbos Sidus, and Shabbos is very long for them. For those teenagers, Shabbos is a Gehenna. I know, I deal with teenagers. So that's the difference,
What's the answer?
What's the answer? So definitely to them this is very, very difficult Shabbos, but that's not what Shabbos is all about. So I'm going to say that for a person that's in the wrong place at the wrong time, Shabbos can be very hard for them. If a person in the wrong place, in the wrong marriage, in the wrong time, the Torah is very hard for them. So a person could be in a matzav of an agina. Yeah? The husband is in a coma. Right? She's an agina. So you're going to say the whole idea of not being able to get married to a second husband before you divorce your first one is a complicated thing from the Torah. No, it's the best thing ever. That's what keeps marriages. Certain people are at certain times that mitzvah doesn't work for them. And the Rebbeinu Shalom wants that person to go through that nisayon at that time. But you can't say that it's not a good thing that says in the Torah. Shabbos is the best matuna tovi yesh li b'vayis g'nu.
I understand that you believe that Shabbos is the best thing. Your child comes over to you and says, right now we finished the Suda, it's 1 o'clock. Shashud, this is 7 o'clock. I have 6 hours of very big boredom.
Right.
Okay, what do I do? So what would you explain to them how you...
I would explain to them first that Shabbos is the most awesome thing for 99% of Yidden, 100% of the time. For a teenager that's like you, that's disconnected, and you don't enjoy even to go learn, I would tell you that know that Shabbos is good. Say, it's not working for me now. So what could I do to make my Shabbos easier? And the answer is, you tell them to plan ahead. You tell them to plan ahead. I have a girls' school, and they always ask me. They say, "I want to start keeping. You know what keeping means? Keeping Shabbos. I want to start keeping, and it's just too hard, too tough. So I keep it till Shabbos afternoon, and then I get straight on my phone." It's true, but if they plan ahead, I always tell them plan ahead. Shabbos happens every week. Don't get it by surprise. It's going to happen 2 days from now. What?
What are you supposed to plan? Like, what do you
What do they plan? I'll tell you what they plan. They get together. This Shabbos, I had my daughter and many of her friends. They took out an Airbnb. Actually, I took out Airbnb for them. They were in the Gleisnergy in Pennsylvania somewhere. So spoke to her. She had a great time. It was awesome, and they all kept. It was very difficult for them to keep Shabbos. They had a few friends together, and they were in a nice place. They were walking. It was not far from the mountainside over there. They were able to keep. I hope. They said they kept. Again, you have to plan ahead. But if the child first needs to understand that Shabbos is a geschmack hazach. But a lot of our kids don't even know that Shabbos is a geschmack. Even for the parents, it's not. They don't see it as geschmack. They see Shabbos as Shabbos, you have to sit by the Shabbos. I don't know where you grew up, but I know where I grew up. You have to sit mid the bekketje, mid the hit. You're not allowed to take off your hat by the Seder. You have to sit straight. The Shabbos meal is like a structure type of thing. Yes, you don't like Shabbos. And you go and your father davens in the shul that davens the longest. And you have ADD and you're not interested in that chazan that davens for 6 hours. And then in the shul, it's like a shul that everybody judges you. You have to shake like that, you shake like that. You're a cool guy. So they hate Shabbos. Of course they hate Shabbos. You have to daven in a shul that's geschmack. You have to make a Shabbos meal that the songs that they like, not only be stuck with your Alta Kol Mekadosh that works. If it works for you, but if your kids don't like it, what are you going to do? You have to make the Shabbos feed the geschmack. Shabbos is awesome. If someone doesn't enjoy Shabbos, they were given a gift, they were given a Cadillac, a Rolls Royce, and without tires. They're missing the whole thing. I understand teenagers a lot of our teenagers that are already struggling or pre-struggling. It's very difficult for them Shabbosin. Sit with them and have a conversation with them. Shabbos is happening in 2 days. Just want to remind you, it happens every week. Like a clock. It happens. It actually happens. Like after Thursday comes Friday, there comes Shabbos. They're like, what are we doing? After Erev Shabbos, all the teenagers are calling, what am I doing tomorrow? Where am I going? They're shocked. They're like their moms didn't know Shabbos is coming. It's a shame. So I tell them, Shabbos got Kimmon, plan. Go to this friend, go to that friend. It works out. It works out. You try to you say, listen, it's not going to be so difficult for you Shabbos all your life. Once you're going to get married, you're going to be so excited to be home with your wife and not having to work, and put your foot on the couch and relax and enjoy the Shabbos. And enjoy the family, and enjoy the singing, and enjoy the davening, and enjoy the whatever it is, good food and good clothing and nice and beautiful Shabbos tables. Shabbos is awesome. Some of us are a little bit stuck in our certain ways, the way we want our tefillas to be. Most people need to change certain shuls at the daven Shabbos. I'm telling you, this is one of these strong things. I was last week Shabbos in Etzisruel. I was called, there was a Shabbos over there for Bucherim that are regular, healthy, ehrliche Bucherim, Chassidische boys, that are in the Chabiris, in all the yeshivas in Yerushalayim. There's a Yid Tzadik, Chaski Koftal, son-in-law, Pinchas Katz. He's at Rosh Hashiva, and he realized the need, and he created, it's a Shabbos Karaftuni for Bucherim. Mitzvah Hashem, we're going to do it worldwide. Everybody wants to do it now. That was the first Shabbos I did it. They flew me in. I was there last Shabbos. From Thursday night till Monday morning, till Sunday morning, I was verbringing with the regular Heilige Bucherim, with the Lange Pious. How many of them were complaining that Shabbos is hard for them? It doesn't mean that even if it's hard, they're not going to touch a phone. But it's difficult for them. Some of them, again, you have certain Bucherim that are able to learn a few hours Shabbos afternoon, Gesundheit. Now in the summer, it's very long. So we're discussing this. I said, is this Shabbos difficult for you? They said, no. I said, plan ahead. There's certain things you could do, certain things you could enhance. And then Bucherim were asking me questions. I was speaking for them. We'll talk about Shabbos, we'll talk about the Torah, we'll talk about marriage, we'll talk about so many things, different topics, and giving them answers. And it was me and a few other Chevra. The Bucherim don't know basics, certain things that the mamish never heard, the answers, the geschmack of things. We assume they know. They don't know. We assume they know. They don't know. We need to talk more and the geschmack and everything. Tzitzis, Bucherim ask, yeah.
No, I don't talk to you. You're done with it. Basically, I don't have a question, but the way I do it, I'm married decisions. She does all the small decisions. Married 20 plus years, never had a big decision yet.
You see, listen, the conversation was getting too serious. I appreciate the comedy. The point is, you ever brought a Baal Tshuva to your Shabbos table? You know what's the best chinuch ever? The best chinuch you could do? Bring a person that just came to Yiddishkeit. Go to Or Sameach and pick up and set him down with Shabbos. He's like in awe. He never saw a family sitting together and eating and singing and enjoying. Sometimes we need to see it through the outside perspective. Like to just every detail, he's singing his midas and he wants to learn the translation. The problem is that none of us know the translation. We say it, we call Mekadosh, and we have no clue what we're saying.
And then our kid comes to the table with their phone.
The kids come to the table with the phone.
And they're like, is this a religious house?
That's a different topic. That's when they come and they join, of course. But you know, everybody likes good things. Yiddishkeit is very good. The problem is that we assume that our kids know everything. They don't. And they don't chap the geschmack because many of them were added too many things to their Yiddishkeit and too many chimris and add-on things, and they're missing the whole excitement, the whole enjoyment of Yiddishkeit. It's mamish a shame. So we need to mamish start talking like we have Baal Tshuva at home. Adam did a Chabad shul once in Tenafly, and he was before lining, for every piece of line, we are going to read about Moshe Rabbeinu told Moses when he came out, and Moshe Rabbeinu told Moses, what did and he gave like a whole thing, and I was like, oh wow, that's what we're going to line now, amazing. And then the next piece, I was like, why didn't you do it in our shul? Do it each in our shul, let's go. I guarantee you most people do. If just knowledge is missing, it's just knowledge. Tznius is the most awesome thing in the world, on this world, let alone get schar in this world. Yiddishkeit, Shabbos, film, what's failed? That we're not allowed to talk Lashon Hara. We're not allowed to steal. What's the Yiddishkeit? So schwer zu sein, Yid, 613 mitzvahs. Really, how many mitzvahs do you have to do in a day? Out of the 613. Most of it has to be by some mikdash, with kabunas, with akoyim, with alayim, with abchar. What exactly is Yiddishkeit standing in anyway? They think Yiddishkeit is, we're going to have a 13-year-old bochi, finally got by mitzvah, put him to yeshiva. It's from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. is to be stuck in that building, and is to be stuck with those two magachinim and learning a whole day. Think that he has no clue in it. Yeah, Yiddishkeit is very difficult for a guy like that. I once heard from a Yid that became Taka Baal Tshuva for many years, and his son became bar mitzvah, and he's thinking which yeshiva should he put his son in. He lives in Shalayim. And he's thinking, I'll put him in Literacy Yeshiva, my son is going to know how to learn Gemara, he's going to learn Torah more. But then he said, but the Hasidim is going to learn, a Geschmack in Yiddishkeit, not only Torah, you're going to, the singing, Hasidische Masses, and he put him at the Hasidic Yeshiva. He wanted some Varmkeit. Yiddishkeit is not only technical, it has to be, so he figured the Hasidim have it better out. He sends him to the Hasidic Yeshiva, his son comes home the first day, he's all excited, what did he learn? First half of the day we'll learn Shir'in, the second half of the day we'll learn Shipushet. Did you learn any Sifra Chasidus? No, just Gemura and Gemura. Next day. A ganze Woche, the whole week passes by. And all he's learning is Gemura and a little bit of Shechnurach. Chimish Rasha, as a child you have to learn Chimish Rasha. Mishnah Brira, a little bit. Sifra Chasidus, did you have a Tzamkim? And he got so upset. He's learning Sifra Chasidus, he's learning about the Varmkeit. He went up to Rosh Yeshiva and said, I don't understand. Is this Chassidish Yeshiva or the latest Yeshiva? I thought you're going to have every morning, the Bukhrim, after davening, can't make a l'chaim with the Bukhrim, but you could sing a song and talk about the Yutzat from the Tzaddik of that day, get inspired by the stories that we should emulate them and we should become like them and Varim and Aginim, and then go to learn, and then singing by davening, and then learning again, like a Chassidish Moisés is supposed to be. He said that Manal took the psak. He said, I wish all the other Manahalim would change. He said, ich habt. Yiddishkeit is, avad the Torah is the Zach. You can learn Torah and you can learn Torah. You can learn Torah like the guys that, to take out the garbage again today. I'm doing it. I'm doing it. Some people have 613 problems to solve, and some people have 613 privileges. Some people are waiting for their wives to ask them for another thing to do for them. They can't wait to show them more that I'm here for you. Ask me for not something else, or the husband, vice versa. We're waiting. If you're in a real good relationship, in a loving relationship, you're chalshik to do it. It's not like, to do that again. Some people, okay, 15 minutes, I'm out of here. You know, you're missing the whole zach. So one of the greatest ways that we have a gift, that we have this big challenge that we're dealing with, and we're going to use this as an opportunity to grow close together, have it out, have the machlokas bias to bring us to the shulam bias, and to work it out, and it should get us closer and clearer of what a relationship is supposed to look like between us and Hashem. And should be makabel the Torah in a few days from now. We should understand the real kabulas HaTorah, which is the relationship that Hashem is craving to have with us.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.